The sun dipped low on the horizon. A crimson glow reflected on the restless waves. I stood at the edge of the small boat, my hands gripping the wooden sides. Pusrar Jazeera lay ahead, shrouded in mist and mystery. The island seemed alive, almost breathing under the fading light. Every wave that crashed against the rocky shore echoed like a warning. The wind carried strange whispers, impossible to place. I felt a chill run down my spine, though the air was warm. Stepping onto the sand, the ground felt unnervingly soft. The beach was littered with shells and twisted driftwood. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, forming shapes that moved with the light. I caught glimpses of something watching from the trees. The jungle beyond the shore was thick and dark. Branches tangled like reaching hands. The scent of damp earth and decay filled the air. Every step I took seemed to echo in a hollow silence. A sudden rustle in the leaves made me freeze. My heart pounded so loudly I could hear it over the wind. A figure darted between the trees, fast and silent. I strained my eyes, but the dim light revealed nothing. The ground beneath me began to feel unstable. Rocks shifted under my feet. A distant groan carried across the island, deep and low. It sounded like the island itself was alive and angry. I moved deeper into the jungle, each step heavier than the last. The air grew thick and hard to breathe. A metallic scent stung my nose. I stumbled upon a clearing, and my stomach dropped. In the center stood a structure, ancient and crumbling. Its walls were covered in moss and strange markings. The door hung loosely on its hinges, swaying with the wind. I felt an almost magnetic pull to step inside. The interior was darker than night. Shadows twisted and danced across the walls. Every sound seemed amplified. My own breathing sounded like a drum in the silence. A sudden noise shattered the stillness. Something heavy fell from above. The floor beneath me trembled. A cold hand brushed my shoulder, though no one was there. I spun around, eyes wide, heart racing. The darkness seemed to stretch infinitely. Whispers surrounded me from every corner. They were not words I recognized, yet they carried meaning. The air grew colder, the darkness denser. My skin prickled as if touched by invisible fingers. The markings on the walls pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. The structure seemed alive, watching me, testing me. A shadow moved in the corner of my vision. I blinked, and it was gone. Then it appeared again, closer, taller, and impossibly fast. A sense of dread rooted me to the spot. I realized then that the island had secrets I could not comprehend. Every instinct screamed to run, yet my feet refused. The jungle outside whispered promises I could not resist. And in that moment, I knew nothing would ever be the same again. The whispers grew louder, filling my mind with 1,000 voices at once. I could feel them pressing against my thoughts, tugging at memories I did not want to recall. The walls of the ancient structure seemed to close in, shrinking the space around me. Each breath felt heavier, as if the air itself had weight. A sudden draft swept through the room. The faint light of the dying sun through the broken roof illuminated shapes in the corners. They were moving, slowly, but with purpose. I wanted to call out, but no sound escaped my throat. A metallic clink echoed from the far end of the hall. I took a cautious step forward, my shoes scraping against the rough stone floor. Every step seemed to awaken something within the shadows. The whispers shifted into words, unintelligible but full of intent. A door appeared that I had not seen before, partially hidden behind a collapsed wall. It was smaller than normal, almost human in size, yet exuding an aura of menace. I hesitated, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. The metal was icy cold, biting into my skin. As I pushed the door open, a blinding light flooded my vision. I shielded my eyes, stumbling backward onto the floor. The light receded, revealing a chamber unlike anything I had ever seen. The walls were covered in glowing symbols that pulsed in time with a deep thrum beneath the ground. The floor was littered with objects I could not recognize. Bones, not entirely human, were arranged in patterns. Some shimmered with an unnatural sheen, as if preserved by magic. The air was thick with a scent of iron and decay. From the shadows, a figure emerged. It moved without sound, gliding over the stones. Its eyes glowed faintly, and its form seemed both solid and fluid at once. I could not tell if it was man or something far older, far stranger. My pulse raced as it approached. The symbols on the walls reacted to its presence, flickering with energy. A cold wind spiraled around me, carrying voices that begged, threatened, and laughed. I fell to my knees, unable to look away from the glowing eyes. Then, the figure spoke. Its voice was not a voice but a vibration, deep in my bones. It spoke in the language of the island, yet I understood it perfectly. It warned me, but I could not move. The ground beneath me shifted violently. Cracks formed along the floor, revealing a pit of swirling darkness below. From its depths rose shadows that clawed and twisted, seeking something living. The figure extended a hand toward me, not threatening but commanding. I had no choice. I reached out, and the air itself seemed to resist my motion. Lightning-like tendrils of energy shot from the symbols, wrapping around me. Pain surged, not physical but deep, like my very soul was being tested. The shadows from below wreathed, and one reached for me. Its touch was freezing, burning at the same time. The figure moved between us, and the shadow recoiled, hissing like a living nightmare. I felt a strange warmth from the being, a protection I did not understand. The whispers turned into screams, unbearable and echoing. I tried to cover my ears, but the sound seemed inside my head. Then silence fell, sudden and absolute, as if the world had paused. The figure stepped closer, and I could see the faint outline of a face, ancient yet sorrowful. It spoke again, and this time the words were clear. The island was alive. It had drawn travelers here for centuries, testing courage, fear, and resolve. Many never left, consumed by their own doubts and the darkness of the place. I realized I had been chosen, not by chance but by the island itself. A door of light appeared at the far end of the chamber. It was the only exit, but reaching it meant confronting the shadows one final time. The figure gestured toward it, and I understood the gravity of the moment. Fear clawed at my mind, yet something deeper, a spark of determination, ignited. I stepped forward, the floor groaning beneath me. The shadows surged, reaching, pulling, whispering temptations of despair. I clenched my fists, forcing each step, heart hammering in my chest. The symbols on the walls glowed brighter, guiding me toward the light. One shadow lunged from the darkness, tall and grotesque. I felt its icy fingers brush my arm, and pain shot through me like fire. But the figure intervened, a wave of energy pushing the shadow back. It looked at me, eyes glowing, urging me to move faster. I ran, stumbling over broken stones, each step echoing in the chamber. The shadows multiplied, writhing, crawling, filling the space behind me. The light ahead grew brighter, almost blinding, yet promising escape. I leaped forward, and the shadows recoiled, unable to follow. I reached the threshold. The moment I crossed, the chamber behind me vanished. I fell onto the soft sand outside, gasping for air. The sun had nearly set, and the island was calm once more. I looked back at Pusrar Jazeera. The mist clung to the trees, hiding its secrets. The wind carried a whisper, soft but unmistakable, a warning and a promise. I knew I had survived, yet part of me had never truly left the island. Every nerve in my body was alive with fear and exhilaration. The boat awaited, rocking gently on the waves. I stepped toward it, each footstep heavy with the weight of what I had seen. The island faded behind me, but its presence lingered in my mind, in my soul. Even as the shore disappeared from view, I knew I would never forget. Pusrar Jazeera held its mysteries, waiting for the next traveler brave, or foolish, enough to enter. And I understood something terrible and beautiful. Some places are meant not to be understood, only survived. The boat rocked gently as I climbed aboard. The island loomed behind me, mist curling like ghostly fingers above the trees. Its secrets were hidden once more, buried beneath shadows and silence. I sat, shivering from exhaustion and adrenaline. The sun had vanished completely, leaving the sky streaked with purple and gold. The air smelled of salt and damp earth, a reminder of the place I had just escaped. A strange calm settled over me. The whispers, the shadows, the pulsing symbols, everything had vanished, yet their memory remained. I could still feel the energy of the island lingering on my skin, inside my chest, in my mind. The water reflected the stars above, peaceful, indifferent. I realized that Pusrar Jazeera had changed me. I was no longer simply a traveler or an adventurer. I had seen what few could ever see, and survived what most could not. A wind blew across the boat, gentle but purposeful. It carried a soft whisper, almost a sigh, like the island itself acknowledging me. It was not threatening, not cruel. It was a reminder that some places leave marks on the soul, invisible but indelible. I closed my eyes and breathed deeply. For the first time in hours, I felt relief, but it was tempered with awe and lingering fear. The horizon called me forward, toward safety, toward life beyond the island. And yet, deep down, I knew Pusrar Jazeera would never fully release me. Its mysteries, its shadows, its whispers would stay with me forever. I had faced the unknown and survived, but the unknown had also touched me. A part of me had become a part of the island, quietly, silently, eternally. As the boat drifted further into the open sea, I looked back one last time. The mist swallowed the island entirely, leaving only the memory of fear, wonder, and thrill. I whispered a wordless promise to the island. I would remember, and I would respect its secrets. The night was calm now. The stars shone like distant lanterns, guiding me forward. And somewhere, in the depths of my mind, the island waited. Waiting for the next adventurer, the next story, the next soul brave, or foolish, enough to enter. I pulled the oars and rowed into the dark waters. Behind me, Pusrar Jazeera faded into legend, a place that existed between shadow and reality. Ahead, the world awaited, vast and unknowable. And I knew that nothing would ever be the same again.